I've been in practice now. Actually, next month I start 43 years in practice. The first 20, I was in the field of functional medicine, anti-aging medicine, nutritional medicine, preventive medicine. And then back in the late 90s, I was introduced to quantum energetic medicine. I've been practicing that for the last more than 20 years here. And it was a real, shift coming from the place of using traditional technology like blood tests, other types of tests to be able to analyze patients. And I found that it was very, very limiting in that it only allowed me to see what was happening to the person at that moment in time, but never really gave me a complete picture of what was the underlying cause of what a patient's condition is. And to really treat a patient and to balance them on all levels, you really need to understand the underlying cause. And so when I got into the field of quantum energetic medicine, I was using a technology that was originally developed by one of the members of NASA, and that allowed me to be able to do a scan on a patient and find out what those underlying issues were, and to be able to treat people from that level. And when you treat a person on the causal level, it's extremely different than treating a person on a symptom level. And unfortunately, medicine today is so symptom-based, and all they rely on is a medication to deal with symptoms. And I always tell patients when they first come to see me is one of the things that I'm here to do is to take you off all the medication that you're on, because, when you are on medications, and I think they say these days that in the United States, the average person is on 5 different medications. What happens is you create what I call a chronic patient. And what I mean by that is that because you never really deal with the underlying cause of a person's disease, yes, you can give a person with high cholesterol a statin drug, but are you ever really dealing with what caused the issue of the high cholesterol to begin with? No, you're just dealing with the symptom. But if a patient comes in and I can work with them and I can change their diet, I can work with supplements, I can look at the underlying cause of disease, I can eradicate that as opposed to just creating a chronic patient. So having worked in this field, in this realm, and having seen many successes, I work with patients, I work with professional athletes, all the way up to patients that deal with cancer and everyone in between. And I've seen the results of how frequency medicine has been a miraculous change for people. I always had a dream, and that dream was for the last 10 years that someday, somehow, somewhere, somebody would come up and develop a device, a portable device, that I'd be able to give to my patients after they left my office to continue the treatment that I had already started with them, so that when they came back to me the next time, they'd be at an even better place than they were when they left my office by continuing that treatment. And back in November, a miraculous thing occurred. I mean, it was so, when you look at the whole way it happened for me, it's just really interesting because I was searching one night on the internet, as I do many nights, and looking at research and things very late in the evening, and I came across a page in German that just piqued my interest, and I didn't know why, and so I put it through Google Translate to see what it was. And as I looked at this page, I said to myself, could this be true? Could this be what I've been searching for the last 10 years? And so when I realized what it was, I got in contact with CJ, who's been a wonderful support for me and for most of us in the U.S. And I just really want to thank you, CJ, for everything you've done and being my mentor and assisting me in bringing the work of Healy forward. And so when I spoke to CJ, I said, I've been in the field for the last 20 some odd years, and this has been a dream of mine, and I'm really interested in what you have. And so he said, well, let me send you a Healy and check it out. See what you think. Investigate it, research it, and if it's what you think it is, and if you feel that it would be helpful for yourself, see if you'd like to get involved in the company. So I received the Healy back, I think it was the first week of December. Now, I want to jump back here a little bit in time because in the early 90s here in Los Angeles, I was involved in a near fatal car crash. And luckily, the ambulance got to me in time. I was actually in a small sports car, and I was hit by a truck on the driver's side, so you can only imagine what that was like. But I remember in that moment in time, they talk about the near-death experience. Well, I honestly believe that I had a near-death experience because you go through this place where, you see the lights and everyone that you've known in your life flashes in front of you. But then I heard a voice. The voice said to me, "It's not your time. It's not your time to die. You have a lot more to do on this planet. There's going to be a lot of things that you're going to be able to bring forward and share with people that are going to really heal a lot of people." And of course, I was brought immediately to the hospital, spent 9 days in intensive care and 9 months in rehab. And what the point is that I was left with a condition after this accident that I had to deal with for the last 20 years, which was a process of severe neuropathy in my right foot, which is an inflammatory process, a neurological inflammatory process. So every day when I woke up in the morning, the first thing I could focus on as soon as I opened my eyes was the pain in my foot. It was very difficult for me to walk for long periods of time, to walk on hard surfaces. Any of you that are out there that know what severe neuropathy is like, and it's a common illness actually. Now, of course, with the information that I've had and being in practice for 40 years, I've been able to do things and take supplements and work in that realm to sort of bring the level down, the threshold down. So I've gotten it to a manageable level, but it's always there in my life. It affects me on a daily basis. Well, unfortunately, in the last about year and a half, it's gotten to a point where the inflammation has prevented me from driving. And so for the last year and a half, I've had to take Ubers and Lyfts and have friends drive me around because I lost the sensation in my foot, the proprioceptive sensation, so that there were times when I actually couldn't go from the gas pedal to the brake and realize where my foot was. It was like lost in space. And, when you're driving a car, you have to be very, very reactive. And so there were times when once I my car almost went off a third story of a parking garage. I almost crashed into a brick wall, and twice I couldn't stop at a red light fast enough and almost smashed into the cars in front of me. And at that point in time, I said to myself, I was almost killed once in a car accident. I'm not going to let that happen to me again. I'm also not going to hurt somebody else. So it really impacted and affected my life. And basically, I felt, well, these are the cards that I was dealt, and probably I have to just learn to adjust. And that was just the way it would be. And then Healy entered my life. And the day I got the Healy, I said, I'm going to put this to the ultimate test. I'm going to use it on me and see what it can do. So I looked at the programs, and I saw there were a number of programs for neurological issues and nervous system issues. And I decided to run those programs in the evening while I was relaxing, watching television. I hooked myself up. I ran those two programs, and for a little less than 2 hours. On night 2, I did the same thing, and then on night 3, I did the same thing, and then a magical thing happened on day 4. I woke up on day 4, and the sensation that I have felt for the last 20 years in my foot was gone, just absolutely gone. I couldn't believe it was happening. I got up, got into the shower. Usually I take a very short shower, a couple of minutes, because the tile floors are very difficult for me to stand on for a long period of time. I got into the shower. I was there for 10, 15 minutes, and it was like, wow. Second day, third day, same experience. Didn't repeat the sessions, only did the 3 sessions, but the neuropathy was gone. And then I figured, let me put this to the ultimate test. So I asked a friend if they would accompany me in my car in the passenger seat. And I started up the car, and I started the ignition, took off, and all I could say is that for a device like this to be able to literally turn around a condition, a chronic condition that I have had for 20 years, to me is no short of a miracle. And so, of course, I started to then use it on various patients and other friends and people that I knew, and I can tell you, And many of you I know are just anxiously awaiting the arrival of your Healys. But the day you get your Healy, your life will be changed on every level. It's a miraculous device. It met and exceeded every one of my expectations. It's beyond your wildest dreams. And I know that as soon as you get your Healy, you will have your own experience, your own testimonial to be able to share with everybody. And it's I've never really been somebody that's been involved in network marketing, but I can tell you that this is probably the easiest product you will ever have. And I don't really call it selling. I really call it sharing, because all I have to do is show somebody the Healy. Usually what I'll say to them is, would you like to try it out? I'll hook them up, and within the time that we begin to the end of the conversation, every person that I've hooked up with the Healy has already noticed an absolute change in where they were from the moment they started using it. And the next question is, how can I get one of these? It's really interesting because, they always say that when you're involved in selling of any product, you have to be prepared to get 10 no's before you get one yes. And I have found the extreme opposite in terms of working with Healy, because I've gotten no no's. I mean, I have shared this with hundreds and hundreds of people, lay people, doctors, I mean, from every walk of life. And the question that I always get after they try it out and we have a conversation is, how soon can I get it? So I think you'll find that this is probably one of the easiest experiences you'll ever have in terms of working and sharing a product with a patient. We're going through a real shift right now, a paradigm shift on this planet. I say to people, I never can remember a time where every single person on the planet is focused on the exact same thing. Everyone is focused on their health at this moment in time. It's in everyone's consciousness and it's in everyone's mind. This is such a perfect opportunity for us to share the magic and benefits of the Healy device. It's really interesting because with the situation we're dealing with right now, everyone is that traditional medicine doesn't have the answers. It's not working for people. People are dying every single day. There is nothing out there right now that has been proven to help and deal with the coronavirus. There's no one medication that's working. So people are starting to think and say to themselves, wow, I mean, I can't really rely on that type of medicine. There has to be something else out there. If you've been looking around and hearing about treatments, you'll notice that a lot of people are now turning towards alternative medicine. There have been some technologies that have been shown to be successful currently right now. Things like IV vitamin C therapy, which I utilize in my practice, ozone therapy, for example. And this has given us an opportunity to really come at a time where people are starting to realize that, traditional medicine, pharmaceutical medicine is really not the answer. There has to be another answer out there. And it's interesting, Marcus talked initially about Tesla. Well, there's the other person to me who was the other greatest genius of the 20th century, who was Albert Einstein. And back in the 50s, Albert Einstein made the statement, the future of medicine is frequency medicine. He actually said that in the 1950s. And to me, that's, totally true. I mean, we're going through a time now where things are all changing. And I really believe we, as owners of Healy, our destiny is to share this with as many people as we can. This technology is something that needs to be really widespread. One of the things in my practice, I always tell patients that, I'm a doc, but I'm also a teacher. And what I teach is for people to be able to get into that whole paradigm of what I call self-care, being able to take care of oneself, not having to rely on doctors or practitioners every time somebody has, an ache or a pain or something that shows up. And this is the perfect device, because you'll be able to have this device, use it on yourself and your family, and anytime something happens, you'll be able to easily resolve that issue. That gets us into the next area, which is where I've been focused for most of my life, which is the whole aspect of what I call preventive medicine. Because yes, we all have issues that we deal with on a daily basis. And I believe the Healy will be the device that really resolves almost every issue that you can imagine. Then we get into the aspect of prevention, which to me is really where everyone wants to be. And to have a device that can keep us balanced on a daily basis on every single level, physical, mental, emotional, to prevent those diseases from occurring. And even the aspect of anti-aging, which I believe is something that really the Healy is going to be amazing for. I know I've been told that there are some programs that are coming forward that are dealing with anti-aging, stem cell programs, etc. And so we really are, when I first spoke to Martin back in November, he said to me, I just want you to know what you're seeing now is just the tip of the iceberg. We have so many things in store for you over the next 10 years, so many programs, so many ideas, so many accessories. You know, I use not only the Healy, but I also use the Healy watch every day because it's really nice for me, having been, being in the field and having more scientific mind, to be able to have something that measures my biometric data on a daily basis and allows me, when I wake up in the morning and connect to the Healy, to be able to see what I've accomplished over the last 24 hours. I can see how my sleep was. I can see the quality of my sleep. I can see things like my heart rate, my breathing, something called heart rate variability, which is a new parameter that a lot of doctors are using to be able to really assess the autonomic nervous system and how much stress you're under on a daily basis. You know, I teach all over the world. I'm the dean of the International Medical University of Natural Education in North America. And so many of my presentations are about the underlying cause of disease, which I have always said is inflammation. But what really is the underlying source of inflammation is stress. And by having the Healy watch, you can access how much stress that you're under on a daily basis by looking at things like heart rate variability. So we have so many tools now with the Healy watch. I mean, the most amazing part to me of the Healy is actually the electroceutical function. If you don't know what electroceuticals are, I suggest you look in Google and search the word electroceutical, because what you'll find is that in the last 6 months, there have been many articles, journals, Scientific American, Newsweek, Time Magazine, and they've all said electroceuticals are the future of medicine, because currently what they're doing right now is using electroceuticals to deliver things like chemotherapy and other medication into the body that normally cause side effects. But with frequencies, we get around the whole area of side effect. And to have a expert database that gives us all our vitamins and our minerals and our nutrients and our amino acids and other substances, and be able to just call on them and deliver those frequencies into our bodies. And you know, when you take a supplement, there's no way for you to know how much of that supplement you're actually absorbing. You know, we all know that our digestive systems do not absorb and process a lot of the substances that we take in. As a matter of fact, I think it's been said that we only absorb about 10% of what we ingest. But when you use an electroceutical, it's being delivered to every single cell of your body at the 100% level. So to me, you know, Healy is bringing us so many areas, so many wonderful ways of healing our body, of keeping us in a state of health and prevention. And I just have to, thank Marcus for this amazing invention. It's going to be a game changer. They're going to look back years from now and say, wow, Healy was the thing that really was the paradigm shift to change the health of mankind. And I'm really excited for everybody out there to have their own Healy and to begin to share their experiences with everyone. And Frank, I'm just grateful to have this opportunity. Thank you. Thank everyone. And take care.
Well, thank you very much, Steve, but I will not quite yet let you off the hook. I have another question for you, but I just want to mention really quickly, I know for me, you symbolize a bridge between the knowledge you have and network marketing we are doing. But really what you said is you don't have to be an expert really to use this product or even to recommend it, to share it with others, because it's so easy. And all our statistics say that if you share it with 10 people, 9 will usually interested. And this is what we see every day, that you just give the device to somebody and say, make up your own mind, try it, what it does for you. And usually 9 come back and say, I don't know what happened, but I feel better. So I can completely agree with what you said. And as you know, you talked about the watch, and we have the Heal Advisor application, we have our digital nutrition application, and our Healy Connector app. But over the next few months, we will come out with so many new subscriptions, like you said, anti-aging, weight management. We will come out with a subscription for animals, because so many people are using the Healy already on animals even, because animals compared to us, they don't have the consciousness we have. We always think, is it working? Is it not working? Do I feel something? Do I not feel something? With animals, it's a complete different game. And I know you have a service dog. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about this too.
I actually have a therapy dog. Yes, I have a dog that I got 6 years ago, came into my life, a wonderful Bichon. Trained him to be a therapy dog, use him in my practice every single day. He is a wonderful animal. He greets patients as they come into my office. He guides them into my office, shows them where to sit down, sits on their lap, calms them down. My patients love my dog. They actually will email me and say, yes, I miss you, but I miss Teddy more than I miss you, and they want to so I noticed with the whole coronavirus situation now, I've had to, I'm not seeing patients privately in my office. I didn't think it was a good idea to bring people in at this moment in time to not only expose myself, but potentially expose other patients. So I am working in more of what's called a telemedicine mode, a remote mode. And so I noticed over the last month or so, my dog, who is just the most outgoing, wonderful, friendly animal of all, started to get very depressed. I literally felt that he was going into a state of depression. He was very listless. He was sleeping all the time. He was hiding underneath the couch. He wasn't peppy. He wasn't eating. And, I'm not a dog psychologist, but I could tell that my dog was suffering from what I consider to be depression. I've been so busy with the team working over the last 3 months, trying to get everything ready to set up coming to the U.S. that I really neglected him. In fact, that I had an amazing device here, and because of my time commitments and busyness, never thought of even using it. And on Saturday last week, I decided I had some spare time. I said, I'm going to try this on Teddy. And so I did a scan on him. I did a scan first on the emotions and the chakras and meridians. And actually, it was the Bach flower scan that I used. And interestingly enough, the first thing that showed up on the scan was that all about gorse, the Bach flower, and the lack of sense of purpose. And we all know that animals, especially dogs, have a sense of purpose. And his purpose wasn't being fulfilled anymore. He could not understand why people weren't showing up anymore, why he didn't have his role as a therapy dog, and he had lost his sense of purpose. And so the Bach flower remedy immediately was the one that deals with sense of purpose. So of course I ran that program set, and then I decided to also run the entire set of programs to see which one fit for him, and not, I wasn't surprised that the one that showed up was the mental emotional set of frequencies. And I did the analysis on him, saw which ones were the programs to run, ran the programs to him, and I can tell you that literally within an hour, my dog had changed. My dog had already gone back. He just, it was funny watching him as I was treating him because he started to kind of move around. He actually looked at me like, what's going on? I really felt he could actually feel something was changing inside of him. And I can tell you in the last week, he's been back to the way he's always been. He's energetic, he's eating, he's happy. He literally has a smile on his face. And so, the fact that we not only are able to use the Healy on ourselves, our own bodies, but on our best friends, our animals out there, to me is just so wonderful. It also opens up a whole range of people to be able to share the Healy with, because we all know that many people out there take better care of their pets than they do of themselves. So that, to me, thank you for giving me my pet back. Yes, it's amazing. There's one final thing, though, that I want to end with here, because I think it's really important. When I got into the field of energy medicine, they always mentioned to me that an important aspect of working in the realm of frequencies is the whole idea of intention. Where is your intention? There's been a lot of studies, interestingly enough, even at Stanford University, on one's intention and interaction with things like computers and other, mechanical devices. And I can say that the intention you hold will have a lot to do with your success and outcome, and how quickly and how effectively Healy works with you. And so what I would recommend is that when you're working with either yourself or other people, that you don't focus on the specific disease or imbalance that you have, that you're working with, but you focus on the outcome, the positive outcome of where you want to be, of where you want your health to be, of where you want the person that you're working with, their health to be. And I think if you set your intention and you set your focus on what you want to create, you'll find that the Healy will align with you and allow you to fulfill your wildest dreams.